Good morning. Today's top story, needless to say, is Moody's downgrading India. Much of this, of course, was to be expected, and that is why, as we've been saying for a long time, this is why the government never came out with a very big stimulus package of the type America gave or other countries gave. Though a lot of people kept arguing that the government should be making direct payments to industry, to workers, and things like that. The reason why the government couldn't do it was that they were always worried that India would be downgraded. Keep in mind that the central and state debt to GDP is around 70% already. With the economy likely to collapse by about 5 to 10% this year as compared to last year, the debt level will go up to about 80%. So we were really asking for trouble, because keep in mind that the government is borrowing at about 6.5%, or actually 7.5 or so, if you take the average, including the earlier debt. So if the government is borrowing at 7 to 7.5%, and the nominal GDP is growing at less than 7%, in fact, in this year it will be negative. But if the nominal GDP is growing so slowly as compared to the interest cost, we're basically asking for a debt trap. So that's the reason why the government is very careful not to spend too much. Of course, there is the other side as well, and to be honest, that's also a compelling argument, which a lot of economists have made, that if the government doesn't spend enough money right now, the industry will go into a tailspin, and it'll be difficult to pull India out of the recession even next year in calendar 21. So that's a genuine problem. And I think basically, to use the Chinese proverb, the government will have to sort of cross the river by touching the stone, by feeling the stone. They'll have to keep looking at maybe some more stimulus packages. They'll have to make sure that the banks actually disburse the money, the loans that have been promised to the MSMEs and other sectors, the forbearance by the RBI. All these little measures have to be done all the time. It's not going to be easy coming out of the mess, but the lesson for Moody's is that you have to be very careful. The good news here is that India is still at investment grade. I mean, keep in mind that Moody's actually in 2017 had upgraded India on the belief, mistaken as it now is clear. Moody's has upgraded India on the belief that the reforms will help increase the growth potential. That hasn't happened. What is the way out for the government of India, which is what we've been saying all along? When the Prime Minister promised his 20 lakh crore package, he actually promised a lot of sweeping reforms there. Now we've seen that over the last few weeks, maybe this is a little early, but over the last few weeks we've seen no sign of those sweeping reforms there. If the Prime Minister is actually going to start reforming, then the country can hope to get out of this mess with a few more increases in government spending here. I think it's a tough situation there, and in this context, there's a lot of news once again that the finance minister is going to be replaced. This is a rumor which has been there. It started about a few months ago as well. I mean, maybe it's just that it's a rumor, but I'd like to make a little point here that frankly the buck stops with the Prime Minister. You can replace the finance minister with anybody you want, but if the Prime Minister is not willing to reform in a big way, it's not going to happen. Keep in mind, a lot of people feel that the architect of the 1991 reform was Dr. Manmohan Singh and his team. It is very clear that they did a fantastic job in detailing the reforms, in ensuring that they dovetailed into each other, all the steps worked out. But none of this would have been possible, not even a single step would have been possible if Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao wasn't fully behind it. Keep in mind that while the IMF pressure was a big reason for pushing the 1991 reforms, the moment Mr. Rao felt that he wanted to stop the reforms by about 93 or 94, then Finance Minister Manmohan Singh quietly fell in line. So this is very clearly, the reforms are driven by the Prime Minister, the buck stops there. So, I mean, I'm just saying this in the context of the rumors to change the FM, that's not going to make a difference. It is the Prime Minister who needs to act. I think the other big story, the big developing story, frankly, is China. China threatening to retaliate if the United States ups the pressure. As we know, the United States President Trump has been talking about retaliation. He's been talking about China's irresponsibility in spreading of the virus. He's been talking about China's aggression in the South China Sea. There's China's aggression, on India's border. There's lots of things. So essentially, what it does is it makes the world environment, the global environment, as far as growth is concerned, that much more uncertain. It makes investors a lot more jittery. So from that point of view, it's a bit more bad news. I mean, it is true that the last time around, China and the United States managed to dial back on their trade wars, which also looked quite serious some months ago. But keep in mind that this is now the run up to the elections. So till November, I think the rhetoric, certainly if not the action, the rhetoric against China is going to get a lot stronger. So it basically this short point for us in India is that the global economy is going to be that more jittery. Investors are going to be that much more jittery. The third story that I'd like to really talk about in today's Financial Express is, as I mean, we've kept away from it so far, is really the Corona story. The Corona story is a bit of good news, mostly continues to be bad news, as is to be expected. So India has crossed 2 lakh cases. Keep in mind that this is a country which, when the lockdown began, boasted of having only 600 cases. So that time the view was, or the boast was, or the talk was that India was the first country to act very responsibly. They've put a lockdown when we had 600 cases. A key government functionary even said that he expected that we would have no cases in a few weeks. So that was clearly proven to be, I mean, so completely hollow, it's not funny. So at 2 lakh cases, India is, I think, the 7th country in the world when it comes to infection. And when it comes to new infection, that is, the infections are the old infections, but when it comes to new infection, India is already number 3 or number 4. And we have a graphic on page 1 of Financial Express which basically says that if things carry on till June 15, India will be the number 4 in the world when it comes to infections, and by June 30th, India will be number 3. So that's not a distinction that we want to be in. The good news, or the partial bit of good news here, is that my colleague Malini Bhupta, who's our resident editor in Mumbai, she actually went to some of these facilities with the Maharashtra government is creating in Bombay. These are not contactless, they're less contact facilities. So essentially, these were one of these, for example, is a quarantine facility which is now being upgraded into a proper hospital. And once the patients are hooked onto their monitors, their oximeters, and things like that, they'll be, the doctors and the nurses will be able to zoom in onto their screens and monitor these patients on an hourly basis. So the amount of contact with the doctor or the nurses to go there and check on the patient is much less. In fact, that's our lead picture today of the head of the facility, one of the facilities, actually monitoring the situation on a giant screen in front of her. Below that, we've got a picture of a maternity clinic or a maternity unit in the same clinic, in the same hospital, where the patients are actually behind a glass wall. The doctors are on one side. So there's a pulse meter there. There's some equipment on the outside with the patient strap onto themselves. The doctors look at them, examine them, do the consultation. By and large, the idea is to shield the doctors as far as possible, because we've seen a large number of doctors in Bombay, and in other parts of the country, in fact, contracting corona. So that's a way of protecting the doctors as well, which is very important, especially because the number of senior doctors in Bombay coming out is very minimal right now, because most of them are above the age of 55 or 60, so they're in that vulnerable group. So this is one way to protect the doctors. And we've been told, my colleague Malini was told that the way that this less contact surveillance of patients is going to take place, it will probably require about a 1/5 to a 10th of the normal doctors that a hospital this size would require. We've written about in Financial Express earlier that the Maharashtra government had actually got 1,100 doctors from different parts of the state to come and work in Bombay. I'm told that doctors and nurses have been brought in from Kerala as well, but I don't have those numbers. So the thing is that all of these facilities are going to come on stream in the next week or two. That's also when the peak levels of infection in Bombay are supposed to happen. So what we really don't know is whether the Maharashtra government and the Mumbai authorities have left this surge in constructing hospitals a bit too late. So fingers crossed. There's a little bit of bad news here again. The ICMR just put out a study on Saturday, and it has conducted about 1 million tests. So when you do 1 million tests, you think that you get a lot of detailed information which will be useful to inform India's future strategy. Now, it's very unfortunate there, but the report is badly written, for one. But more important, the results are not quite as clear as we'd like. So up to now, for example, ICMR had told us that 80% of people who come out positive for corona are actually asymptomatic. Now this report puts it at 25. But it tells you the reason why they put it at 45 is because they have a large number of people. 45% of people tested. Of the people who tested positive, they have no clue as to whether these people are asymptomatic or symptomatic. So it's a pretty bleak news or bad news there from ICMR. What the report also suggests, and that's pretty clear also from anecdotal evidence in cities like Delhi and Mumbai, the level of contact tracing is very poor. So in Mumbai, for example, we had done a story some weeks ago where we found the contact tracing was 55%. In Delhi, the contact tracing, I know from personal experience, is quite poor. So what that does is that's probably one of the reasons why the corona disease is spreading as fast as it is, despite a fairly severe lockdown for about 50 days. So basically, if you don't do contact tracing, it's difficult to spread the carriers of the virus. There's some good news on HCQ. Now the bad news was some weeks ago, or about a week, 10 days ago, that the WHO had stopped its solidarity trial across various countries for HCQ because the Lancet had published an article which basically said that veterans in America and patients in other countries had suffered a lot of bad consequences from HCQ. So pending an inquiry or some further study, WHO put that trial on hold. Now the good news is that 180 scientists have written to Lancet essentially saying that the first study of theirs was full of holes. So they said, for example, just to give you a few instances of what they said, for example, the data that was put out for Australia was actually incorrect. Then they said that despite the fact that all over the world, the conditions of people are very different, the way people react to disease are very different, yet the results that you found from this corona study and the use of HCQ, the results of those were surprisingly uniform. So this is not the kind of results that you would expect, in a world which is so diverse. So there were lots of other issues like this which were brought up. So it is hoped that the WHO will reconsider its stand, which actually takes us to the Financial Express's second editorial today, where we basically said that apart from the fact that the ICMR needs to be pressing WHO for an early resumption of the trial, ICMR itself needs to put out data, because ICMR, you'd recall, had basically said that HCQ could be used for prophylactic use as well. And a lot of hospitals in India, especially the public sector ones, are prescribing HCQ for patients. So if HCQ is being prescribed for patients, then ICMR needs to document it and to show that so there are no control groups to check against these patients. But if so many thousands of patients have come out of corona and they've used the HCQ, it would be very clear that the adverse effects certainly are not there. So these are the kind of work that ICMR should be doing to help dispel the fear about or the wrong notion about HCQ. Now it's possible that eventually HCQ may turn out to be a dud. It may turn out from the Solidarity and other trials that HCQ actually doesn't help reduce the viral load. But at least we need to clear the air, and we cannot stop the trials of HCQ just because of some incorrect articles in those prestigious journals. Journals which are prestigious, but they cannot be stopped. So there are lots of other stories to talk about in the Financial Express today. Auto sales are down as expected. The monsoons are here on schedule. We are expected to have a very good year of a monsoon. You had the airlines have been told by the airline regulator that you should preferably try and keep the middle seat empty. This is important because just some days ago the aviation minister said that there was actually no need to keep the middle seat empty. So these are some of the stories that I'd like to talk about, but just don't have the time. But one very quick last word is a fantastic story about Google on the last page of Financial Express. Basically what the story says is that in keeping with the need to be responsible, in keeping with the need for social media to be responsible, Google is trying to scrub out, conspiracy theories about corona. So these are stories both from the newsfeed of Google itself as well as from YouTube. That's fairly standard. The twist in the story is There are a lot of ads, for Google, and some in case even for Microsoft. A lot of these ads are on the websites which churn out these very conspiracy stories. So I think that's a nice read. Do spend time reading it, and read the Financial Express. That's www.financialexpress.com. And if you want to read the e-paper, that's epaper.financialexpress.com. So happy reading and have a great week ahead. Thank you.